people who are not aware of the cloud should be here. Okay, so I think a lot of technical guys are not required. Tushar Maji is not required. This were too basic for him. For example, Sridhar is fine. Who else? The technical guys may not be liking this, but in general, be there. You always learn little new things if you're a part of it. Okay, so I'm just playing this. If you're not able to hear me, just tell me. Nothing is playing right now.
Welcome to Module 1, the introduction.
Was that clear? Anyone?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
This module
is getting worse.
the AWS cloud and the methods available to interact with various AWS services. By the end of this module, you should be able to define what the AWS cloud is and the basic global infrastructure. Let's get started. Welcome to AWS Cloud Practitioner Essentials. Today we're going to talk about the AWS Cloud. This course is all about becoming a cloud practitioner, so let's start by defining cloud computing. Cloud computing refers to the on-demand delivery of IT resources and applications via the internet. Before cloud computing, we had to build data centers based on guessing what our maximum peaks might be. If our design didn't meet our actual maximum peaks, our customers would suffer. If we overplanned and exceeded our maximum need, we ended up paying for resources that we didn't really need. With cloud computing, instead of having to design and build our own data centers, we access the data center and all of its resources via the internet, allowing us to scale up or down based on our actual needs, without having to plan for the worst case scenario.
Okay, so look at these photographs that came up. Okay, now here, so what typically the problem is, and the problem that the cloud solves it, is that most of our the IT heads, we keep on talking to a lot of CIOs and CXOs across industry and across companies, verticals, right? So what the IT heads and all do is they get, once in 5 years, they will be asked to give a infrastructure budget. Okay, and the infrastructure budget is for all the kind of purchase of hardware, software, security, firewalls, whatever. They'll be given asked to present a budget, and they then what they do is they go to the application team and say, hey, what is your requirement? Hey, what is your requirement for the next 5 years? So what generally happens is all these managers, IT teams, everyone, they will considering and this is a fact, that considering that their requirement, I mean, obviously they cannot see 5 years. It's very difficult for a technical manager to see 5 years. So what they say is, okay, what do I need? I need a 4-core 8GB. So let us give a 32-core 64GB kind of module, or a 32-core 128GB kind of requirement. Okay, and they will stand adamant on it. If you don't give me, then we'll not be able to run and all. So eventually, every bill of material that we receive today, okay, from all the clients who wants to move to the cloud, all of them are over provisioned at least 2 to 3 times. That means they have, they have provisioned, they have hundreds of servers. So for example, one of the servers provisioned as 64 core and 120. Okay, you have paid, you have acquired hardware, and you're not using it. Why could you not use it? Because you never had the vision of not being able to use as much of space, right? So what cloud does is, as we all know, pretty unsaid, that you go in and you provision only what you require, and you provision what you require on demand. If you need more for 2 hours, you provision for 2 hours, and you bring it down. So this is called scalability. This is called elasticity of the cloud. So in cloud, in AWS specific, and there is nothing called a server. They call it EC2. They call it the elastic compute cloud. Okay, everything there is a word elastic attached. So in AWS, wherever you see the word elastic attached, It simply means that you get things on demand for that particular component. E will be attached to it. EBS, EC2, okay, EMR, okay, so ECS. So forget about what EMR and ECS does. I mean, that is beyond the scope of discussion. But in general, anything which has got the elastic simply means that I have the facility or the capability to increase or decrease that particular resource on demand. Okay, so let's see what she's saying.
By harnessing the power of the AWS cloud, our approach to change management, testing, reliability, and capacity planning is more agile and efficient. By using the AWS cloud, we can reduce risks, automatically scale our computing to meet our needs, ensure reliable coverage even in the face of a natural disaster, and secure our data.
Okay, so she used the word risk. Okay, it's just to mitigate that one risk. Maybe tomorrow, if I need, the risk is maybe tomorrow, if I need, I will not get more compute. Just to mitigate that one simple risk, people over provision. People go and say, okay, I need 64 core, no, whereas you never actually needed it.
I'll give you a brief overview of how the AWS cloud helps you do all that, starting with reducing risks. Cloud computing can help reduce risk by being agile, being able to learn and quickly adapt to change. This agility reduces the cost of change. So how do you reduce the risk of a large IT investment not returning enough benefits? You insist on results while the investment is being made, and you pivot as soon as possible if you aren't seeing those results. And how do you reduce your security risk? Test often, patch quickly, and respond to incidents at lightning speed. These are a large part of new security models. All of these approaches to risk management are enabled by the cloud. Cloud computing allows enterprises to respond quickly and elastically to changing market conditions. This facilitates scalability, agility, and innovation. And with pre-developed services that can be quickly assembled as building blocks.
Okay, so three words, very powerful words: scalability, agility, and innovation. Okay, how would this work? Scalability, like what the lady said, that you can mitigate the risk by programming, testing, and releasing faster and better. That is bottom line, is that is what she said. So that you can, so this feature of the scalability helps you reduce all the risk.
It's possible to automate software development and create security and compliance guardrails. Let's talk about that scalability. One of the key benefits of AWS is the ability to use services at your own pace. In cloud computing, the term scalability means the ability to resize your resources as necessary. Let's say you're Forbes. Every year in February, you need to hire more staff and run more deliveries so that you're ready for Valentine's Day. That's scaling up. Then after the holiday, you need to scale back down to normal levels. It works the same way in the cloud. By using AWS, customers can grow, shrink, and adapt their consumption of services to meet seasonal needs.
Okay, so let me give you again a very good example, of what we very recently did. Again, I will be using this example again and again for what we did for Inadu. Okay, that inadu.net, the website, is something which we maintain in Minfi. Okay, so if you were not aware, just to let you know, so this SSC 12th results were declared recently, couple of weeks ago. So we got a mail from Inadu saying that we need more resource because I'm expecting 10 times the hit, or whatever, so they give some numbers, expecting more hits because of the SSC result declaration today. So what we did was, they were already running on 4 servers. We kind of added another 4 servers to their infrastructure. So I don't know how many of your cousins who would have passed SSC went on Inadu to check, but there was no instance of any downtime on inadu.net when the results were released. Similarly, we know this Assam, this population scheme was happening in Assam, no? Okay, national population by NPR. Okay, so even that was working on AWS. Okay, and morning I had sent a mail to all of you guys, about in fact, all the technicals I had sent, how that mobile gaming company is running a scale of 2.4 million hits per minute. Okay, 2.4 million hits per minute on running on AWS. So this is the kind of scalability you do. Now, earlier, what used to happen was for that one day of SSC result, so that your infrastructure doesn't go down. What people used to do is they used to keep very big servers. Okay, for 364 days, it was never used. For that one day of 365th day, so that your website don't go down, you have big, huge servers. So essentially, your investment is going waste, and that you made in the infra is going waste for that one day. But on AWS, for that one day, I can add 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 or 500 or 5,000 more servers, and no one is going to question me. Okay, and obviously I pay for it and etc. So this is what in general she is trying to say.
Requirements, launch new services products, or simply accommodate new strategic directions. The AWS Cloud delivers a scalable computing platform designed for high availability and dependability, providing tools to help you run a wide range of applications. One main reason companies are moving to the cloud is increased agility. Let's talk about that for a minute. 3 of the main factors that influence agility are increasing speed, the ease of experimentation, and cultivating a culture of innovation. So let's take a closer look at how these factors help organizations become more agile. It can be cost prohibitive to put your data centers where your customers are, especially if they're all over the globe. But using AWS can help without necessitating a huge investment. Because AWS facilities are all over the world, you can literally have a global reach with just a moment's notice. In cloud computing, new resources are only a click away, so you can make those resources available to your developers in just minutes. In cloud computing, it's easy to access new resources, which can help you be more agile and more innovative and spend less time focusing on infrastructure. For example, with AWS, you can spin up servers in minutes and shut down servers when you don't need them or put them to work for another purpose. With virtual and automatable resources, you can quickly carry out comparative testing using different types of instances, storage, or configurations.
Okay, so this is another very important feature. Configure different kind of instance storage or configuration, and I keep changing them on demand whenever I want. For example, I uh, I I have I configured my instance with a magnetic drive. Okay, I can change that to an SSD. Okay, for a faster thing. I have configured, maybe my use case was to store a lot of files on a disk. Okay, and I find out that I'm spending a lot of money. I can move that all the file storage out to something called AWS S3, which I'm sure all these things will come out in this training in the going ahead. Okay, so every and any and everything is absolutely configurable, and based on your requirement, you can take it or leave it on demand.
For example, by using AWS CloudFormation, you have access to a consistent, template-based environment for development, test, and production purposes with increasing levels of operational control. Cloud computing allows you to experiment quickly, low cost, and low risk. This allows for more experimentation more often, which can lead to the discovery of innovations and new configurations. So like agility, elasticity is also a powerful force in computing. Elasticity is the power to scale computing resources up or down easily.
Note this word, elasticity is the power. Elasticity is the power to scale computing resources up or down easily. I'm very sure these kind of questions will come when you write the cloud. What is elasticity with some options and all will come when you're writing the certification test.
So let's talk about that. Because the AWS cloud is elastic, you can quickly deploy new applications, instantly scale up as the workload grows, and instantly shut down resources that are no longer. So whether you need one virtual server or thousands, whether you need computing resources for a few hours or 24/7, AWS provides an elastic infrastructure that can meet your needs. Using AWS tools like auto-scaling and elastic load balancing.
Okay, so auto scaling and elastic load balancing. Okay, these might get covered in future, but you must understand that auto scaling is one feature because of which AWS became very famous. Okay, when it got launched 10 years ago, 12 years maybe, right? I mean, autoscale got launched maybe 10 years ago. Okay, so so scaling simply means that, like I gave you the example of Inadu, there were 4 servers already running. What we did was, because we knew that the results are going to get declared at a certain time on the next day, we added capacity. We added 4 more instances. But what happens when we are not aware of that? Let's say this is stock market application, or let's say this is a Bollywood news channel. Okay, and some kind of event has happened in Bollywood all of a sudden, and everyone comes and hits this portal for news. So how will you, kind of prepare yourself? So in that case, what happens is those 4 servers, like in Inadu, which I was saying, those extra 4 servers that I added, that we added manually, will automatically come and get added as the traffic on the portal increases. Okay, so that is auto scaling. So remember this rule in AWS or any cloud, you cannot increase the size of the server vertically without stopping, right? So vertically means I have a 4-core 8 GB and I want to now run 8-core 16 GB. I can do that, but for that I have to stop the server, change the server size to a larger one, and then start it. But I can scale out vertically. That means one server is there, 2 servers are there under the load balancer. Load balancer, as the word says, very simple. It balances the load. If I give it 2 servers, it will send one guy here, one guy there, one guy here, one guy there. It will just keep balancing it. Okay. So when I say auto scaling, when the traffic increases, automatically it will judge and add 2 more servers under the load balancer, or 1 more server, depending on what your rule you have written. So it will keep on adding the servers unless and until the traffic gets evenly distributed and the infrastructure is acting normally. So that is the power of load balancer. Sorry, the power of auto scale.
Application can automatically scale up or down based on demand. Backed by Amazon's massive infrastructure, you have access to compute and storage resources whenever you need them. With AWS, you can easily deploy your system in multiple regions around the world while providing lower latency and a better experience for your customers at minimal cost. Thanks to efficiencies of scale, customers can use innovative services and cutting-edge technology without having to go through multiple procurement cycles and expensive evaluations. AWS provides capabilities to support virtually any workload. This level of innovation gives customers continued access to the latest technology. Reliability is the ability of a system to recover from infrastructure or service failures. In cloud computing, reliability means being able to acquire computing resources to meet demand and mitigate disruptions. In order to achieve reliability, your architecture and systems must have a well-planned foundation that handles changes in demand, detects failures, and automatically heals itself.
Okay, so let's run this small clip again. Very important, when it comes to risk.
Demand, detects failures, and automatically. In cloud computing, reliability means being able to acquire computing resources to meet demand and mitigate disruptions.
So reliability, very big word, reliability.
In order to achieve reliability, your architecture and systems must have a well-planned foundation that handles changes in demand, detects failures, and automatically heals it.
Detects failure and automatically heals itself. Okay, so a very powerful feature of AWS is that this hardware. So many times we have heard hardware crash ho gaya, server crash ho gaya. Okay, obviously the hardware fails. Even on AWS it fails. But what AWS has done is it has provided a self-healing facility. So if your hardware fails, your your server by itself will boot on another hardware, and this happens within a couple of minutes. You'll realize hardware has failed. Immediately you will see that it started booting up somewhere else in the AWS form. So that is the kind of reliability AWS has, which it provides to the customer.
By using AWS, organizations can achieve greater flexibility and capacity, reducing the uncertainty of forecasting hardware needs. Additionally, the scale of AWS gives customers the capacity and reliability that is difficult for on-premises solutions to match. Reliability is a key component of the AWS cloud. That's why Amazon's data centers are hosted all over the world in what we call AWS regions. Each region is a separate geographic area that has multiple isolated locations known as availability zones. Availability zones consist of one or more
Okay, so understand this keyword, region. Okay, wherever in the world AWS is available, it is called region. The most important thing about region is that you, me, anyone can go and launch an instance into that particular region. Okay, of course, you cannot launch an instance in China. Okay, you cannot launch instance in US. There is a region called Gov. US government has their own dedicated AWS region, so you cannot launch instances there, and in China, right? And but apart from that, any region, any place in the world where AWS has a region, you can launch a server sitting right here in your bedroom, okay, or a drawing room, wherever you're sitting right now. Okay, you can launch a server anywhere, right? So remember this word. This word region will keep coming again and again.
Data centers with each redundant power, networking, and all AWS regions. Each region is a separate geographic area that has multiple isolated locations known as availability zones. Availability zones consist of one or more discrete data centers with each redundant power, networking, and connectivity housed in separate facilities.
Okay, so this is an important construct. Every region in AWS has a minimum, remember this, minimum of 2 availability zones. An availability zone is a word which is equal to data center. Generally, we used to call it data centers, right? In AWS, they call it availability zones. So every region in AWS has at least 2 availability zones. There are regions like Mumbai. Mumbai is the AWS region in India. In Mumbai, there are 3 availability zones, right? I think in Virginia, you have 4 availability zones. So there are a lot of availability zones which are there in multiple minimum of 2 and I think maximum of 4 availability zones which are there in different regions across the world. And AZ is nothing but it's also popularly known as AZ availability zone. Okay, and it is nothing but a discrete data center. Each of them in Mumbai also you have 3, but all the 3 have got different power lines. They are separated from each other. They have redundant connectivities, but all of them are connected with each other with a very high speed bandwidth. Okay, so for you or me, it is like a single data center running, but in fact there are 3 different data centers in Mumbai which is running as a single unit called AWS region.
So when you use the AWS cloud, you can place resources like instances and data in multiple locations. That lends itself nicely to reliability because if you host all of your instances in a single location and that location were to fail, none of your resources would be available. Using availability zones lets you operate production applications and databases that are more highly available, fault-tolerant, and scalable than is possible from one single data center. The structure of our availability zones is intentional and directly related to fault tolerance. Fault tolerance means a system can remain operational even if some of the components of that system fail. Think of it as the built-in redundancy of an application's components. High availability ensures that your systems are always functioning and accessible, and that downtime is minimized as much as possible without the need for human intervention. Finally, let's go over the security of our customers' data. This is a top priority for Amazon. If you're an AWS customer, you retain complete control and ownership over your data, including which region you store it in, how you handle encryption, and who holds the encryption keys, making it easy to meet regional compliance and data residency requirements. Before cloud computing, auditing and infrastructure security was a time-consuming and manual process. Because it was so laborious, it was usually done intermittently. Now, the AWS cloud provides the ability to monitor your IT resources continually so that you can spot any changes at once and respond if necessary.
Yeah, so audit, when you work with large enterprises, all of them have to be, I mean, you'll have KPMGs and PwCs coming in and auditing their infrastructure for compliance. All these government things, government projects that we do, eventually that will happen. Okay, maintaining the audit, or a simple word, let's say, if you have to have your on-premise infrastructure and you have to maintain ISO 27001. Okay, for that, just for that one certification, to maintain that one certification, you may have an annual budget of maybe 10 or 15 lakh rupees, or maybe more, depending on who you are getting it audited by and how big is your infrastructure. Right? So when you get into the cloud, they ensure that all these certifications and audits are in place. You don't have to go and get it done for yourself. That's a big save, not just in money, more than money, in your creative time. Okay, when you do an audit, you have your certification audits, your surveillance audits, your practice audits. Okay, and then you have a management review. Then there are non-compliances that comes in, or a lot of things. A huge cycle keeps on running continuously behind audits. So you are safeguarded from all those funders. You can just simply say, download the report and say, hey, see, AWS is certified. Okay, so you don't have to do it yourself.
AWS also offers industry-leading capabilities across facilities, networks, software, and business processes so that our services meet the strictest security requirements. Let's go over why our security capabilities are world-class. Our highly secure data centers use state-of-the-art electronic surveillance and multi-factor access control systems. Our data centers are also staffed 24/7 by trained security guards, and access is strictly regulated. Our environmental...
So someone was telling me, this is unofficially, someone was telling me that AWS infrastructure in Mumbai is being managed by 2 ways. Okay, how true I don't know, but I would love to believe that, because everything in AWS is highly automated. Okay, the reason it never goes down is because human intervention is not there. Anywhere, wherever you have human intervention, there will be errors. Okay, and it's a human, to err is human, is what we say, right? So there will be human errors, and because of that human error, infrastructure will go down, right? So so that is how automated they are.
Systems are designed to minimize the impact of disruptions to operations, and our multiple geographic regions and availability zones allow you to remain resilient in the face of most failures, including natural disasters or system failure. Since AWS assets are programmable resources, your security policy can be built into the infrastructure from the get-go. At the end of the day, AWS offers a broad set of global cloud-based products, including compute, storage, databases, analytics, networking, mobile, developer tools, management tools, Internet of Things or IoT, security, and enterprise applications. These services help organizations move faster, lower IT costs, and scale. This is why AWS is trusted by the largest enterprises and the hottest startups to power a wide variety of workloads like web and mobile applications, game development, data processing and warehousing, storage, archive, and many others. Throughout the entirety of this course, we'll talk more about specific services and features of the AWS Cloud, so I hope you'll join me for more discussions on AWS Cloud Computing. Again, I'm Kirsten Dupart with AWS Training and Certification. Thanks for watching.
Welcome to the AWS Management Interfaces. In this module, you'll learn about the convenient options for accessing and using AWS resources. AWS users can create and manage resources in 3 unique ways: using the AWS Management Console, AWS Command Line Interface, also called the AWS CLI, or the AWS Software Development Kits, or SDKs. All 3 of these options are built upon a common interface, or API, that serves as the foundation for AWS. The AWS Management Console provides a graphical interface to access AWS features.
So what is the management console? Of people who have not seen, there are a wide variety of guys over here. Okay, so most of you would have seen, but if you have not seen a management console, here's what it looks like. So aws.amazon.com, you sign into the console, and Hold on. You put in your password, then it will ask you for a second password, which I have on my mobile, which keeps on changing every few seconds. And this is the AWS console. Okay, on the top right, you see there are multiple different regions, the regions which I was saying, North Virginia, Ohio, North California, Oregon, Cape Town. In Asia, you have so many regions, Sydney, Singapore, Seoul. In Canada, you have one region. In Europe, you have so many regions, Frankfurt, Paris, Milan, London. Okay, I can launch, I just have to click. If I want to launch a server in Frankfurt, all I do is click. Okay, then I search for EC2, which is the server, and where is it gone? Okay, there are no running instances. Instance, remember, the word instance is nothing but a server. No, that is what you call. I can just launch a instance using this. So I have a Red Hat, I have Amazon Linux, I have Windows Server. I can launch any of these servers, Ubuntu's, okay, from here in Frankfurt. Right now, sitting at my home in Hyderabad, right? So this is our Mumbai region. So let's see what is next.
AWS CLI lets you control AWS services from the command line. And of course, AWS also provides the SDK that will enable you to access AWS using a variety of popular programming languages.
Okay, so command line, I don't have it installed with me, but let me show you how it looks. Let's see if I have some images of the command line. Okay, again, this is showing as a normal command line. Okay, so these are the black and white commands. This is how AWS started. The first time when I clicked on AWS, it was 2010. Okay, so when I started working, and I hate this black and white. I was a very Windows kind of guy, right? So I worked on this for 4 or 5 days, and then I decided that I'm not going to launch any server. This is too much overwhelming for me. But people who work on Linux, they love this. Okay, command line is actually a test of your memory, right? So if you have good memory, you can do amazing on the command line, and actually this is much better and powerful, right? So this is another interface that you get. And then SDKs. SDKs are, let's say, AWS Java SDK. So I can download, this is software development kit. I can download it. I can integrate it with my programming environment like SDK. And then I can do anything on AWS using this. So here is the full form of AWS. What do we call AWS as? Amazon Web Services. Amazon Web Services, right? Oops. So this is something which AWS is, Amazon Web Services. So what is web services? Okay, so for every service in AWS, everything in AWS, we have a HTTP endpoint, that is a REST URL. Okay, it's just a URL like any other URL. Okay, like any other URL like this, there is another URL. Using that URL, I can launch a server. Okay, to use that URL, this SDK is there. I can use my program and program it. Okay, so don't worry about any of these if you're not a technical guy. Okay, you're not going to use this, but you should know that there is a management console, there is a command line interface, black and white screen, and a software development kit. I can use Java, I can use .NET, I can use Python, I can use Go, I can use PHP, I can use JavaScript. A lot of languages which are supported are using these SDKs.
Now, before we explore how to use these options, let's briefly look at the tools. The AWS Management Console lets you open and use various AWS services and features. There's even an app you can use with iOS or Android platforms so that you can view your existing resources and alarms and perform operational tasks at your convenience. The AWS CLI will allow you to automate and repeat the deployment of AWS resources in a way that is programming language agnostic, where the AWS SDKs can help you use AWS in your existing applications, create applications that can deploy and monitor complex systems using only code. AWS CLI and the SDKs give you the flexibility to customize AWS features and create your own tools specific to your businesses.
So we'll skip this.
And for all aspects of your AWS account.
So I just showed you all this demo. Okay, this is the AWS
services
account.
option console by creating shortcuts.
Okay, I didn't show you the menu. Okay, so you see here, you have all the AWS services. Okay, there are more than 180 services which are there, and each of them I can click. Each of them there is a use case, and you should be aware that in Minfi we work on any and every of these. Somewhere or other we have this knowledge to work either as an individual or as a team. We will have the knowledge to work on all these services which are maintained there. If there are something which you have never worked on it, we have the basic understanding of how to jumpstart on it. Okay, so that is where Minfi stands today. That is why it is such a formidable partner for everyone in this in the partner ecosystem of AWS. Okay, people come here with their problems, they definitely go back with a solution. It is a guarantee that we provide. So this thing I
their own
skip.
frequently accessed resource, and then quickly navigate to each saved resource group using the AWS menu. Resource groups are specific to identities. So each user in your account can create unique resource groups for their own frequently accessed resources.
So he's talking about this. Okay, just create a group of your frequently accessed things. I mean, you don't have to go into this whole list again and again. Oops, sorry. You don't have to go into this list again and again. You create your own resource group, okay, by saying that, okay, these are the 5 things which I have, which I commonly use. Okay. Okay, you can search for the groups or a service over here, and you can create your own resource group. Based on that resource group, you can access your AWS console much faster.
Sources and their common tasks. You can share these resource group definitions with others in the same account just using a URL. The tag editor allows you to easily manage tags for resource types that support tags. You can apply these tag keys and value documentation. To access the console remotely using your remote device, simply download our mobile app from the Amazon App Store, Google Play, or iTunes. It's helpful to note that it may take time for some changes made using another interface to update and show in the console. For example, if you make changes to a feature using the CLI, it might not be readily viewable from the console when it initially launches. The AWS CLI is an open source tool that lets you interact with the AWS services without having to do a lot of configuration. You can start using all the functionality of AWS from the command line, including things like running commands for Windows, Linux, Mac OS, or Unix. You'll learn more about how to do that later on in this course. AWS SDK and the supporting interfaces enable applications built on AWS to manage your infrastructure as code. The concept of infrastructure as code is powerful, disruptive. It's what sets the cloud apart from the old IT world. These language-specific SDKs contain APIs that allow you to easily incorporate the connectivity, functionality of the wider range of AWS cloud services into your code without the difficulty of writing the functions yourself. AWS provides extensive resources for AWS resources on your platform. Console, you have the
So I'm forwarding a few steps which I already discussed.
to get your job done.
Okay, so knowledge check. Which of the following term refers to the power to scale computing resources up or down easily? What is the answer? Anyone?
Elasticity.
Elasticity.
Hare Chetra, I can hear a voice. Very good. Chalo, that's right. You complete the module, you may close this window. Okay, where is the window? Let us see if we can close this window. Now, where do I go? What are all this? What is the time? 6:48. ठीक है, so we will end today here only, more or less, but let us see what is next. Right. This thing is so confusing. Where do you go? Did we just finish the whole thing? No, there should be a lot of topics. So nevertheless, so we'll end this today. I'll find out what happened to the next set of course. Okay, and we will pick it up from there. Okay. So tomorrow same time, we'll just connect, and I'll continue. Okay, carry on, guys. Thanks a lot for being there.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.